Good evening. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your presentation. My name is Ameyaw Debrah. I am an entertainment and lifestyle blogger. And my first question would be, when you were talking, you did mention some of the jobs you've created and what you're going to do.
Right.
But when I look at jobs and the youth, it's one thing having a job, and then it's one thing having a well-paying job. And on the flip side, people are complaining about salaries not being good enough. And across board, I don't think in the last 8 years we've seen something that was so significant to change the salary structure across board for people. So as we are looking at creating jobs, also, what are you going to do if you come into office in terms of creating lucrative jobs for people? Because I don't want to arrive at the airport and see airport staff begging for money or complaining that they're not earning enough.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think that's a very good concern for all of us, because you want decent, well-paying jobs that can make ends meet. And so for us, you start by education and skills training, right? That the skills can get you the better jobs, because there are certain skills that are demanded, whether it's in the oil industry, fabricators and welders and so on, and they tell us we don't have enough of them. We have people looking for the jobs, but they may not have the skills. So how do we match the skill set with the labor market demand? It's a very, very, very important thing. And this is why, you know, we have the Ghana Skills Development Fund. We've got a $40 million investment in that to build skills of Ghanaian workers. We are invested over the last 7 years, about $6 billion, 6 billion Ghana cedis in TVET, the skills. We've retooled 34 NVTIs with state-of-the-art equipment so that they can get the skills done. If you don't have the skill, they cannot get the well-paying jobs, both inside and outside the country. So I think the first thing is do the education and skills. Free SHS is helping. TVET will also help. But then you need the skills side. And then also you need to encourage the apprenticeships programs, because a lot of the time you may finish, you want to be a hairdresser or whatever, you need to go through the apprenticeship programs. And I think that is also something that we'll be doing. Then you look at investments in the digital space, for example, IT, where there's a lot of demand for skills. And so if we can train people to have those skills, they can have better jobs in those things. So I believe that generally the skill set of people, and if you look at where we are trying to go, whether it's invest in the agri sector, whether it's in the digital sector, the housing sector, the infrastructure sector, you can have higher and better quality paying jobs in those sectors when you bring the skills to bear in those areas, even in agriculture.
All right. Doc, my name is Benard Kumi in the...
You are very famous.
Nickname for you, maybe you have not heard it. I call you Bawizi. So,
oh, right. Thank you.
Yes, Bawizi. So for
Thank
those
you,
who don't know yet.
Sheldon.
But my question is, I run a youth-driven platform. I engage a lot of youth in my line of work. And most of the times when you speak to them or you go to the grounds and you're having conversations with them, and you make mention, oh, the government has created 2.6 million jobs, and they go like, it is not reflecting. We do not have jobs. And that is like general atmosphere amongst most of the youth out there. Either they have been employed and they are being paid paltry sums of money, their salaries are not being paid on time, or they have not been paid at all. So just standing here and telling us that you have created 2.6 million or 2.3 million jobs, it's not enough for us. We want to see the tangibles. We want to be employable. We don't want to be employment statistics at the end of the day. So I want to know what your government is going to do to expand the various sectors of production so that we can absorb all these people into the system and they get paid well. On the other side of things too, there is this video that was posted by Honorable Kwadwo Nkrumah, where in the video it was asserted that you have trained 1 million youth in coding. I want to understand. I know training and actual employment be two different things. When you train someone and the person doesn't have a job, it doesn't qualify to be called employment. So these people that you want to train, we will train. Is there a job market for them to be absorbing so that it wouldn't just be training? Because when you train and there is no job, then there's no point. Also,
thank you.
Doc, meba, Doc. So, Doc, I am a young entrepreneur. I started new media after school, after not getting job anywhere. Now, I have made it, I have put in the effort to bring in national service people to work with me, right? And every year, we take in about 2-3 national service people. I'm a private company. I'm not a government company. Now, I'm supposed to pay these, national service people a certain amount of money, which is more than what the government is paying. And after that, I am supposed to pay money to the government through the National Service Secretariat. For a private startup company like mine, that is not funded by anyone, and I'm paying all these amount of money to the government. What are, the benefits, the opportunities for me in your government so that I can create a fertile grounds to absorb in a lot more people so that I can work with them and create employment for them?
Thank you very much, Kwadwo. I think there are about 3 questions, if I recall. You made a right point to start with. That says that we've created 2.6 million jobs. That for the people you talk to, they are not seeing it, reflecting. And that's exactly the point I made. That, in fact, even though we've created 2.6 million jobs, it's not sufficient. The demand for employment is very high, but you can just imagine that if you had not created this 2.6 million, the demand would have even been higher, right? So the fact is that it's true. We haven't done enough in that sense that you want to do more. And this is why I believe if you look at the program I'm putting forward, it's very, very key. The business side, you look at the tax reforms that we are proposing that will help stimulate the private sector. I'm talking about people who have issues with tax liabilities and are not able to hire people but if you give them an amnesty, all of a sudden there's a significant capital injection of sorts so that they are able now to hire people and restart their businesses. But if they have to use their capital to pay GRA, all these tax liabilities, you have a big problem. So you look at those reforms, the move to the flat tax system, making our tax system very transparent. A lot of businesses, and I've talked to many, have so many challenges with the tax system. I believe that the Buy Ghana First policy, which I'm going to back up with law, is also a major avenue for job creation. Because at the moment, the default setting, given our Public Procurement Act, practically tends to go to import whatever you need to buy as government. Because the local firms are not able to be price competitive. So the foreign firms win the bids almost all the time. So I want us to factor in the cost of unemployment in the bidding processes to say, look, if you give it to the foreign firms, you are creating unemployment. So how do we bring the jobs to our people? Bring a law, and then at least you have to buy Ghana first, and then we get more jobs to our people. So I think that is. Then you look at the whole issue of the cost of power. Power is very expensive for our businesses. And I want us to move towards solar. and bring in 2,000 megawatts of solar power and reduce that. Then I want to bring in the credit scoring system. You know, the demand for goods and for so many services is much lower if you don't have access to credit in your economy, right? But if you have access to credit, you look at the US, consumer demand drives GDP, over 60% of GDP, because people have access to credit and they can buy goods. And that when people buy goods, it means you need to employ people to manufacture those goods. So there is a direct link between the credit system and jobs. So I believe that when we open up the credit scoring system, we open up the job market for our people, and you'll be able to create more jobs. Because you look at the mortgage market, as I was saying, the mortgage market in the US is 12 trillion. It's almost 600,000 times our mortgage market. Now, no modern country, and I don't know of any, I've looked at it, has developed without a mortgage market. Because the value of your land is dead if you don't have a mortgage market. In the advanced countries, they unleash the capital out of the land. In the economics, you say land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. In Ghana, land is out, but that's our most valuable asset. So if you don't digitalize and get the land titling right, so that banks can be confident that when they lend on the basis of a particular land, that it actually does belong to you, right? So if we don't solve that problem of ownership of land, people will have to use land guards, and then they finish, they don't have title. Most businesses are started by mortgaging their properties. Most businesses out there. But here, the room to do that is foreclosed. It's completely foreclosed. So I want us to go back and tackle the fundamental problem. Deal with the issue of land titling and complete that process to allow. Then you can have a housing market develop. The housing market is the most important market in any economy. If the housing market goes down, the economy collapses, right? So if we don't tackle the housing market issue of mortgages, the land titling issue, we have a lot of dead capital stuck in the ground. A lot of people have houses. They live in them for 30 years, but they don't have title to the house. They don't have title. They could have mortgaged this house and gotten capital to start a business, but they don't have title. So they will not proceed. It will just be dead capital. When they die, the children will live there. They cannot do anything with it. Even selling it becomes a problem. So if we don't develop our housing market, we're not going to develop. So these are some of the things I believe that we need to do. I mean, you raised another point about skills, like people are trained 1 million, and all of that. That is very, very important point. But where do you start in building digital talent? As a country, we have from ground zero. We want to enter the digital age. You cannot without digital talent. Otherwise, you'll be importing it all the time. So you need to grow your digital talent. So you have to bring in skills. And the only way you can begin to grow your digital talent is to train your people. And if you are training 1 million people, maybe not all the million will get jobs in Ghana. But you can sit in Ghana and do a lot of business process outsourcing abroad. You can work in the UK, US, right from here. It doesn't have to be a job in Ghana. But if you don't have those skills, you don't have the opportunity. It's foreclosed. You won't be able to start. So for every country, and I've told other countries, colleagues in other countries that, look, Africa should build its digital talent. Otherwise, we will continue to import. I have made sure right from the beginning that all our digitalization projects are done by local talent, all of them. And it has been a matter of policy that we grow the talent here, we make our mistakes here, we learn, and then the next time we'll do better. So if you look at everything we have done, virtually everything, it has been by local talent. Even the drones that we brought in, all the drone centers are 100% manned by Ghanaians, not a single foreigner. We insisted on it. 100%, all the drone centers are being manned by Ghanaians. Not a single foreigner is doing that, because otherwise we will just be bringing people in to make money and then we don't get the skills. But today, people are coming to hire Ghanaians. Recently, someone was taken to San Francisco to train drone flight operators because we have the most experience. We are the world's largest drone delivery service. So I think that, yes, you have to start from somewhere. You have to build the talent, and then you can otherwise, but then you don't have any ticket for entry into the game. You'll be stuck out, and others will come and do it for you. So I want to give Ghana a chance to grow our industry. Yeah.
Your Excellency, my name is Vanessa Abose, popularly known as Nessa. Okay. You've been talking about digitalization a lot, and I want to focus on the infrastructure aspect. Now, when I look at the infrastructure aspect, I see three components. One, high speed when it comes to internet. Number two, data centers. And number three, uninterrupted power supply. Now, when we break it down, this brings me to the questions. Your Excellence, we are still experiencing doomsday. So, if we are still experiencing doomsday, what are you putting in place to make sure that we have reliable power supply so that digitalization will be optimized? B, which is data centers. Data centers will create more jobs for people in the tech areas. What are you putting in place for these people? And last but not the least, when it comes to the internet, we do not have reliable internet for digitalization. Then it brings me to the cost of data. Data is so expensive. The youth are trying so hard to become CEOs. We are posting on TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat, and so forth. But the data is so much. What are you going to do about that? My third question, you spoke about industrialization. And I would like to read what I saw about industrialization. Industrialization is the process of transforming the economy of a nation or region from a focus on agriculture to a reliance on manufacturing. I would like to focus on the agriculture aspect because you said you would like to encourage us to purchase more of Ghanaian-made produce, right? Mr. President, Your Excellency, sorry, Dr. Bawumia, Ghanaians are scared about their health when it has to do with the water situation. So, what do you have to say about that so that we Ghanaians can feel safe to purchase our own goods being produced in Ghana so that we don't get affected, especially with the Galamsey water issue? Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Vanessa, for those questions, and they're very, very important. I think that you've raised pertinent issues that go to the heart of a functioning digital economy. And I think that if you look at the power challenges that we've had recently, from my understanding, there's been issues with gas supplies, and that has resulted. But I'm told that this situation is about to be resolved, and the problem is being fixed. So we will get more reliable power. I think that is the issue. Data centers, I think that that is key. That is very, very key. As you know, we have gotten a data center around Apollonia City right now, which is one of the largest that we have in the country. I went to launch it recently because it's very, very important. And we have also said in my manifesto that we've got to build more data centers to do that. So I don't argue with you in that sense. One of the things that what we have prioritized also is fiber optic cable over the last 7 years. Today, I can tell you that 93% of all the NCA licensed fiber optic cable in Ghana was put in place in the last 8 years. 93% was put in place in the last 8 years. That is key for infrastructure. Just a couple of days ago, we launched 5G, which is going to seriously increase the speed. You know, you're talking about, you know, at least 100 times faster than 4G, maybe, you know, maybe 1,000 times, and then 100 times more capacity than 4G. So I think that coming in with 4G, you're going to see major increase in speeds. With 5G, major increase in speeds. In terms of internet penetration, as you have rightly pointed out, one of the barriers for us is cost of data. For all of us, for all the youth that I speak to. And I'm increasingly, I've made the point before, that we should, in this world of digital, you know, access to the internet we should, in this world of digital, you know, access to the internet is almost seriously very much at par to access to things like electricity. You know, very, very key. So we need to bring down the cost of data. And if you heard what I spoke about, I said that the allocation of spectrum license, historically we have allocated spectrum on the basis of raising revenue for government. And so when the telcos buy the spectrum on the basis of raising revenue, so they pay, we do a bidding round. So we look for the highest bidder. So we get the revenue. So they have to recover their costs. So the cost of data will go up. So I'm saying, don't allocate spectrum on the basis of revenue, because you have a digital inclusion agenda. So you should allocate the spectrum on the basis of digital inclusion and negotiate with the companies to say, we will give you the spectrum, but you have to lower the cost of data. And we can have a negotiation along those lines to bring down the cost of data. But if you want to charge high for the spectrum, they will also charge high for the data. And so I believe that government should take financial inclusion, and this is what I have in the manifesto, should take digital inclusion as a high priority and not be too focused on raising revenue from spectrum. We should use spectrum to get inclusion, and that is, say, you have to spread your services to these areas at this cost. They are willing to do that. So this is one of the things I want to do with the area of bringing down. And I also want to reduce, eliminate the duties on mobile phones, you know, so that we can bring down the cost of the phones and make them more accessible. I would like, where we are going, I would like to make sure almost everybody has a smartphone. That's basically what it should be, because as you put all these services out there, you know, if people cannot access them, then you don't get the benefit globally. So I think that is where we want to go. I think that you made also a point about industrialization, and how we move from agric to manufacturing and the cost of water. I think that this is part of, if you look at the 1D, 1F policy that we brought in, one of the things that was clear is that over almost 70% of 1D, 1Fs were for agricultural processing companies, almost 70%. We've set up about 169 factories under 1D, 1F, which are operational, but almost 70% of them are agric processing. But it makes sense that they be so, because if you have agric processing, then there's a demand for the produce from the farmers, right? So when I went to the Bono areas, for example, they were talking about the need for cashew factories. You know, because if there is no demand, then the cashew prices are depressed. You know, so once the factories are there to demand those agricultural produce, then you will see better prices for the farmers and so on. So I think that is something that I would like to see more of. Most countries have industrialized through the agro-processing side before you go to the other segments like the cars and so on. The water situation is also very, very critical, and we need to make sure that we control, and this is why I think that the issues about mining in the water bodies through these galamsey activities is just a no for our country, and we have to do everything to stop it, because the cost for us, disease and everything, is so high. And this is why we really need to regulate the small-scale mining sector and direct them to areas where gold can be found, because most of them think that the gold can be found in the water bodies. But you can get into, community mining schemes where the Geological Survey Authority has already identified that there's gold here. So you go there, we give you these mercury-free machines and all of that. So you don't have to go to the water bodies, and it's regulated. And I think that is very, very important that we focus there. Thank you.